We're on the same
When I woke up this morning, I was feeling pretty dangerous.
About the past and about the future.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Draftvice. Brojo here again, getting you prepped for the 2019 NFL Draft. Right now, D-tackle rankings. That's right, D-tackle, motherfucker. Those big hog mollies. So yeah, right now we're going to talk about my rankings for the D-tackles. Number one overall, clearly, Quinnen Williams. Dude is a legit D-tackle prospect and just came on the scene this year. Played for Alabama. Is a bowling ball of knives. Now, we did see him get stopped up by a couple of centers. Specifically, Eric McCoy was able to handle him pretty damn well. And there was maybe one or two other guys, a couple of guards out there that were surprisingly well at handling him. You saw games where he just kind of disappeared, but even the national title game, it just seemed like all of Alabama's defense just went, what the hell? We're not going to play today. But yeah, so Quinnen Williams is going number one overall. He's just the best defensive tackle in this draft, and played for a legit team, a legit contender, and a legit conference. And just what he can do to change a D-line. Now, is he going to be Sue? Is he going to be Aaron Donald? Who knows? I don't know. I don't want to say. I know a lot of people try to avoid those elite comps. But I think he's going to be like the next legit big D-tackle prospect. Only question, a lot of the prospects in this draft, and we said it on the draft podcast the other day with our guest host, Richard Sinig, it seems to be a year where it's like, you look at the top players, and it's either one-year starters or injury issues or one-year starter or injury issue. It just seems to be, or inconsistencies. It's just kind of weird. My D-tackle number two is none other than Ed Oliver from Houston, the bowling ball of knives, if you will. He just seems to the athleticism, get at the quarterback. Again, he's the one everybody starts going ahead and screaming Aaron Donald about. People were talking about him as the number one overall prospect last year. I think there's now talks about him in the top 10 again. It were all different talks throughout this whole draft process about him falling, rising, falling. Nobody's falling or rising, right? Like unless there's a character concern, you really don't fall or rise. It's just everybody's catching up to where the teams are, if you will, or falling and rising in the media, not necessarily falling and rising amongst the teams. Because like Ed Oliver, again, like he was very high last summer. Then like nothing really spectacular happened. Didn't do his full combine. Had a good pro day, and now more teams are talking about him, and now we're getting a lot more leaks about the teams. And Oliver, he's played out of position a lot, played nose tackle, was doubled and triple teamed a lot, played in a weird conference, didn't get a lot of sacks, doesn't really have a solid pass rush plan, but dude, I wouldn't count that guy out. He's had the same D-line coach for the last 6 years, so that's a question mark right there. Like, is he going to be coachable? But I like what I've seen with him. Legit prospect. Technically, I would have the next two guys. I might even have the next two guys ahead of him, except I do think he holds up very well against the run as well, which is a D-tackle's job. And D-tackle number 3 is Jeffrey Simmons, who, if it wasn't for the ACL and off-the-field issues, I might have even had him number 2 on the list. Just seems to be a lot more linearly attacking and just knows how to use his body. He's like a real Ndamukong Kong Su kind of player. Just kind of can play all around the D-line, athletic. I just remember them showing him practicing for the combine a month before, right before he tore his ACL, and just the movement that this guy can do. I wish we got to see what he would do at the combine, except he'd probably go top 5. He's a legit prospect. I know a lot of teams have him off their board because both of the injury issue of tearing his ACL, not getting that full year of usage. So you're probably not going to take a guy top 10 or top 15 if you can't use him the whole year or his first year at all. And then he also has the off-the-field question marks. And I don't know if you've seen the video. I get people might have different opinions on that. So, but if it wasn't for those issues, I'd probably have him at D2, D tackle 2, not D like Division 2 or Mighty Ducks 2. So again, just an athletic guy, attacking very maybe more mobile linearly than the next both like side to side and forward than the other two prospects on the next two prospects coming up, and even more athletic than Ed Oliver potentially. D tackle 3 is Jerry Tillery. Dude is legit, kind of reminds you of Chris Jones he's gotten this comp from everybody at this point, so don't look at me like, oh, you're just saying that. Everybody has said Chris Jones because he's got the size, the length, and then kind of the up and down in production. He's a PFF favorite. He's I think a Josh Norris favorite. He's a favorite of a lot of the online draft nicks, but it seems the teams are not as high on him. Not great in run defense, but dude, as far as 3 techniques go, as far as rushing the passer goes, and he's still solid as a run defender. You get different levels of, oh, this guy's great at run defense or good at run defense. He's still solid. I think he's going to have to be more consistent in the run game. No matter what, though, he's just this big athletic freak, and if you have a 3-tech like him and you stick him next to a solid nose tackle, you get him on a good D-line, especially if everybody's in these NASCAR packages trying to play catch-up all the time. Playing him at 3 technique, especially sometimes in nickel, you're rushing 2-3 techniques, especially on third down. He's going to be a legit pass rusher from the inside, and you get him into the right program. I know some people question his off-the-field interests. Might be more into the stock market or whatever, but we see this with players all the time. I'm not really worried about some guy who might speak multiple languages and might be able to play the stock market and make money. Like, Ryan Fitzpatrick played the stock market and is a good financially attuned player. Now, granted, he wasn't drafted in the first round, but I digress. 5 is Christian Wilkins, and again, an elite player on that Clemson D line. Played all over. Played at edge at one point. Play 3 technique. Is still a little inconsistent, and you question whether he can win on one-on-one matchups all the time. There's a lot of stunting and getting around and getting at the quarterback a lot easier. He had basically a lot of easy matches. I'm told he's a good locker room guy. I've not personally met the man. Can't make any decisions or can't make any kind of comments on his personality, but from what I have been told and from what it sounds like, he seems to be a high locker room presence. Again, solid pass rusher, 3 technique, D tackle, can play all around the defensive line. There's just the question is whether he would hold up as far. He's like a good, not great player. He's kind of hitting a double, if you will, not necessarily a home run. Like where some of these guys might be in Ndamukong Suh, maybe he's a little bit lower down on the list of potential highs versus lows. And right behind him, I actually have his teammate Dexter Lawrence. I get it. He's typically he's going to probably be a nose tackle in the NFL. Big athletic dude. It can get some real push, and if you can get some real push at the nose tackle position, and I can just imagine this guy developing more. Especially with the athleticism. Now, I know a lot of people looked at, he gets a lot of the Dontari Poe kind of comparison. Some people question whether Dontari Poe was a good or not good pickup, whether he was a good or not good player. Now, if you remember when Dontari Poe was playing for the Chiefs, they were basically playing him every snap at some points, and he did wear down. I don't know if he has the pass rush moves as, say, a Dontari Poe, but he does have the legit athleticism of the Dontari Poe. So I don't know. As D tackle 5, I like him a lot. I think there's guys, and I think he's probably the best run defender of these players, at least as far as the second half of my top 5. So yes, Dexter Lawrence. I would take him at the back end of the first round or top of the second round and just see what he. At least at minimum, you're getting a nose tackle who gets a legit amount of push. So and you know what you're getting from him. Now, are nose tackles always valued at that point? Probably not. But if he's getting some kind of pass rush productivity, he's getting some kind of pressure from the inside. Pressure equals production, baby. If you can frustrate the if you can frustrate, maybe he's Marcel Darius, maybe that's probably what he'll end up being. Nonetheless, the next two guys on my list are actually typically considered edge rushers, but I think they can kick into 3 technique. It's Rashan Gary and Charles Omenihu, and both are very good athletic edge rushers who can kick into 3 technique, and I think their versatility makes them this very valuable resource that, even when you compare him to maybe a Dre'mont Jones, right, who is further down the list, I think it's the fact that they have the versatility to be on the outside that has them higher on my list. But I do have them at both edge and D tackle. So I don't know, maybe having them in both positions is a negative or a positive. I don't know. I'm not drafting, so it don't matter. Next guy up is Khalen Saunders. This guy is extremely athletic too. Doesn't have the versatility of playing on the edge, but more of a interior guy, but can get a decent interior push as far as and extremely athletic as far as what he'll be able to do. I'm gonna clear out the rest of the list. Again, Khalen Saunders, Western Illinois. So we'll recap it first. Quinnen Williams 1, Ed Oliver 2, Jerry Tillery 3, Jeffrey Simmons 4, Christian Wilkins 5, Dexter Lawrence 6, Rashan Gary 7, Charles Omenihu 8, Khalen Saunders 9, Dre'mont Jones of Ohio State 10. He's more of a 3 technique tackle, can rush from the inside. Now, he's going to get washed out in the run game, but again, like I'm saying before, when you're playing a lot of the NASCAR package, you're getting a guy who maybe in the 3rd round. Now, he didn't test very athletic, but again, played defense very well. If you get him on a line where he's only matching up one-on-one with a guard, he can rush the passer. And in the 3rd round, you kind of can get some of those role players. I wouldn't take him before the 3rd round. Another guy, Trysten Hill, UCF. I like him in the 2nd to 3rd round range. And that will conclude. Trysten Hill's the end of that list. So that will conclude our D-tackle rankings. I am Brojodeathpunch, also known as Walter. Walter? You can subscribe if you're listening to this on iTunes. Again, subscribe. Rate, preferably 5 stars. Yeah, and if you want to follow, you could follow the podcast at Draftvice, and that's on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter, Snapchat, and Instagram at Brojodeathpunch. BROJO, death like the end of life, and punch like I did to your elk the other day. Peace out.